traditional Yemeni cuisine, which consists of mostly rice, meat, and a special blend of spices which are called the Hawaij. Now, in my recipe, this is a very modified one for reasons that I'm going to tell you in a little minute, but I just want to let you know before that this particular recipe has originated from Yemen, though it is widely enjoyed throughout the Arabian Peninsula. They are traditionally cooked in an underground oven where there is burnt wood and charcoal, and they're left there for almost half a day, so that the meat is going to cook in the natural heat from the burnt wood and coal, and let its spices and fat seep into the rice, and thereafter let the rice cook as well. So it is a very soft and simmery rice that you could get along with the mandi, and these come in a variety of either chicken or even lamb. They are usually enjoyed with a special Yemeni or Arabic tomato salsa, a recipe for which has also been included as a part of this video. However, like I mentioned before, I do not have a traditional underground oven in my back garden, so I am going to cook this recipe in my kitchen oven using a little bit more spices than the traditional recipe, and that's purely because me and my family, we enjoy things a little bit more heated up. So I hope you like my video, and if you do like my content, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. So we start here by doing the marinade for the chicken, and here I add about half a tablespoon of red chili powder. Now this is totally up to your taste, followed by half a teaspoon of turmeric, half a teaspoon of pepper powder and sea salt to taste. What I also add thereafter is some ginger garlic paste. Now this was freshly ground at home with a tiny bit of water just to get that proper freshness, and this is again followed by juice from half a large lemon. You give this all a very good mix. Now the traditional Hawaij, which is an Arabic spice mixture that is used to marinate the chicken, is generally made of spices like cumin, cinnamon, black pepper, bay leaves, cloves, etc. Now, like I said earlier, my recipe is a little bit modified, a bit of a modified version, and therefore I add a bit of chili powder and turmeric as well into it. You can buy the Hawaii spice from any local Arabic store, or alternatively you could mix your own based on your own taste and flavor. My recipe is going to serve a small family of 2 adults and 1 child, and I've taken a medium-sized chicken cut into 4 pieces. I give them a gentle score through the flesh just to allow all of the spices to seep in as they cook. Again, this is optional. I'm going to mix them into the previously made marinade so that they're all well incorporated into that meat, and we got to let this rest for at least half an hour to an hour if your time allows, preferably overnight. Next, I oil my pan with some olive oil, and I've got 1 medium-sized onion diced into quite medium-sized pieces, not too small. I'm going to give them a gentle stir in the hot oil for a little while until they become translucent. Now this would be the one and only step that is mandatory for your mandi recipe, and the rest are all optional. This recipe is so simple that you hardly need your stove for anything else other than this particular step. We're now going to get our baking dish ready for the oven, and we throw in our cooked or diced onions into it first. This is followed by 2.5 cups of basmati rice, which is long grain. There are several brands that you could actually use here, like Mumtaz, Tilda. Any of those are totally fine. I felt basmati rice works best with this recipe. This is followed by a few important spices, including 1 cinnamon stick, 5 peppercorns, 5 cloves, 5 cardamom pods that are gently opened, and about 2 or 3 bay leaves based on its size, as well as some sea salt again to taste. Now next you're going to help the baking process by adding some hot boiling water into this mixture. You could also get a little bit creative and add a few raisins as well, which I ran out of during this time. Please make sure that your boiling water is at least about 2 or 2.5 inches above the level of your rice. Next, you're going to add in a few dried lemon. Now this is quite classic of Arabic rice and meat dishes, but as you've seen, this is optional, and if you do have it, go ahead and get that in as well. Next, you're going to go ahead and pull out 2 foil sheets and wrap them around your baking dish. You might want to get some holes into these foil sheets and before you place your chicken on top, so please make sure the foils are strong enough. I use a metal skewer to create some holes, but you could also use a sharp knife to do so. You could also use a pizza pan or just the oven grill in order to get this step done. Following this, you get the dish into the oven and bake it for about 25 minutes at 230 degrees Celsius. And again, this will completely depend on the power of your oven. Now, because of the complexity of this recipe when it's made in a traditional way, they are usually only prepared for special occasions like weddings and Eid, which is a very popular festival for us Muslims. So since we've had variations for almost everything these days, this recipe of mine, which is cooked in the kitchen oven, is one of the easiest and is a sure hit for your weekday family dinner. So while that cooks in the oven, you go ahead and get 1 medium-sized onion finely chopped into a heated pan with olive oil. Get the chopped onions fried until nice and golden brown, and this will become your garnish. Make sure that you do not have your onions fully browned while you fry them, because the onions tend to cook more as they come out of the pan. Now the other thing that you do while your chicken cooks in the oven is to make your zahawig. I've got 6 tomatoes in here, a few garlic cloves, green chili, and some cumin and sea salt, all blitzed together in the blender. Now the Yemeni zahawig is a very spicy and tangy tomato salsa that goes together with an Arabic rice, and they are an absolutely brilliant combination for people who really enjoy a bit of both sour and spicy texture to their food. Now this recipe is very simple because it only has a few ingredients that are just quickly blended, and you blitz it and you get it. That's it. Now with zahawig, you got to make sure that they sit for at least an hour in the fridge once you have blitzed them, and this is to allow all of this flavor to just seep into the sauce, because otherwise they are going to taste very raw and not suitable as a sauce. So it's past 25 to 30 minutes now, and I've pulled out my chicken and rice from the oven. I see they're quite hot, so you got to be really careful at this stage, and move the chicken over to a different plate before I open up the foil to see how well my rice has cooked. At this point, I wish you could smell and sense this feeling of very soft rice, but this is one of the amazing things of this recipe. The rice is so well cooked, it's so soft, and it's so hot as well. You got to be really careful. I'm just going to place the lid back on into my rice so that it remains nice and warm while I place the foil paper back into my baking dish, because I really like our chicken to be slightly more cooked. But as you can see, this is already very well done, so if you prefer to leave it this way, it's absolutely okay. So after I've left the chicken in the oven for an additional 10 more minutes, I go ahead and work on the rice and drop in my fried onions to garnish, as well as the nuts if you do have some. And then simply place the chicken pieces over the rice and make some space for something else that is going to come over in the next few minutes, which is a little cup of foil paper which I prepared. Now we are going to mimic the traditional smoky taste of the rice and chicken, but before that I drop in some lemon juice over the chicken. So there goes my foil paper cup, which is going to hold a bit of olive oil. I had preheated a small piece of charcoal which I'm going to pop into the olive oil, and this is absolutely beautiful. All that smoke coming from the charcoal needs to be trapped within the rice, for which I'm going to use 2 tea towels and going to nicely wrap the baking dish in them. You got to leave this there for at least 15 to 20 minutes just to get the baked smoky flavor. It looks like it's all ready now. You go ahead and remove the piece of charcoal and place it straight into the drain with open water running over it in order to avoid any potential fire hazard. And there you go, you've got your rice and smoky chicken mandi ready, almost the traditional way.